Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be going in depth into my top 24 quarterback rankings and tiers for the 2023 fantasy football season. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at Notorious FNTSY. So without further ado, let's get into my top 24 quarterback rankings and tiers for the 2023 fantasy football season. We begin with the S tier at the quarterback position. These are the big three at the quarterback position. All three of these quarterbacks will be gone in a majority of fantasy football drafts by the end of the third round. You can argue for any of these guys as the QB1. My order is Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, then Patrick Mahomes. But if you said that you like Mahomes as the QB1, I'm not really going to argue with you. Jalen Hurts currently coming off the board as the QB2 at pick 24.5 on Underdog Fantasy. Now, the reason why I have Jalen Hurts ranked as the QB1 is the insane rushing upside, first in carries, fourth in rushing yards, and first in rushing touchdowns, matched with the fact that the weapons in Jalen Hurts' offense, the Philadelphia Eagles, are loaded to the gills. They have Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. Their offensive line is a brick fucking wall, and Jalen Hurts is a significantly better passer than people give him credit for. Fourth in true passer rating and fourth in QBR. This is going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL, easily one of the best offenses in the NFC. I love Jalen Hurts. I love what I saw out of him last year. He was the quarterback one in points per game, finished as the QB3 at the end of the season because he only played in 15 games. But ultimately, if this guy plays in every single game of the season, his upside is the QB1, and I have him ranked there for a reason. Again, I believe very strongly in this Eagles offense as well as the player that Jalen Hurts is. At number 2, we have Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, underdog ADP, quarterback 3 at pick 27.4. Now, Josh Allen also has some really solid rushing upside. Third in carries, second in rushing yards, and third in rushing touchdowns. He finished as the QB2 at the end of the season, as well as the QB2 in points per game. Now, when Josh Allen suffered that injury during last season, it was very clear that he wasn't the same player. Now, if you ask Josh Allen himself, he'll probably say it wasn't bothering me, this, that, and the other thing, but that's just the kind of guy Josh Allen is, right? At the end of the day, it clearly impacted his play. The offense doesn't really add in any key pieces. I understand they bring in Dalton Kincaid, but that's not like adding Randy Moss to this offense or something. Josh Allen is a lock to be a top 3 quarterback, just like Jalen Hurts, as long as he is able to stay healthy. Stephon Diggs is his wide receiver number 1. This is an offense that is going to be great yet again. He ranked second in QBR last season. The interceptions were an issue last year, third at quarterback. He has been turning the ball over at a relatively high rate over the last couple of years, but at the end of the day, he throws so many passing touchdowns, so many passes every single game, a lot of passing yards. He's going to be just fine, even if he continues turning the ball over every single game. At number 3, to close out the S tier, Pat Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs, underdog ADP, quarterback 1 at pick 20.7. Now, I don't need to get on my knees here and give Pat Mahomes the metaphorical gawk gawk 9,000 for you guys to know how great of a quarterback is, despite the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are just devoid of elite weapons outside of Travis Kelce. Pat Mahomes makes it work. It doesn't matter if one of us is the wide receiver number 1 on the team. Mahomes is going to dominate like Shaquille O'Neal in the paint. Third in passing attempts, first in passing yards, first in passing touchdowns. He threw 12 interceptions last year, but again, when you throw 41 fucking passing touchdowns, it doesn't matter. 11th in carries, 9th in rushing yards, and 7th in rushing touchdowns. First in true passer rating, first in QBR. This guy is amazing. The only thing that stops him from being the quarterback number 1 for me is the limited rushing upside, as well as the fact that his wide receivers just really aren't all that great. Moving now to the A tier at quarterback, we got Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, the rushing tier of quarterbacks. I moved Lamar ahead of Justin Fields, but again, they're in the same tier, so if you want to argue for Fields over Lamar, I'm not going to say that's crazy. Underdog ADP, quarterback 4 at pick 35.1. Last year, Lamar was the quarterback 14, but when he was healthy, he was the QB6 in points per game, tied with Justin Fields. 12 games played last year, 25th in pass attempts, 26th in passing yards, 16th in passing touchdowns, 24th in interceptions. But again, the whole kit and caboodle, the reason why Lamar could finish as the QB1 is the rushing prowess that he has. This motherfucker played in 12 games and he was 5th in carries, 3rd in rushing yards, and 9th in rushing touchdowns. He's also a way better passer than people think. The same thing with Jalen Hurts. The same thing is the case with Justin Fields. These people love to make fun of him because he's a running back, this, that, and the other thing. But in reality, he's a significantly better passer than people think. 2nd in true passer rating, 9th in QBR. This is the best offensive weapon core that he has had in his career. Mark Andrews, Rashad Master Bateman, Odell Beckham Jr., and first-round NFL draft selection, Zay Flowers. Todd Monken, now the offensive coordinator. They're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more, but Lamar's still going to run the ball a bunch himself. I just think they're not going to be handing the ball off as much to JK as well as Gus Edwards. Lamar, another safe option. Obviously, there's injury risk with him. The injury risk increases when you have these mobile quarterbacks, but the upside for him, just like with Justin Fields, is the QB1. At number 5, we have Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears. Underdog ADP quarterback 5 at pick 46.8. Last year, quarterback 6 at the end of the season, as well as in points per game, tied with Lamar. 15 games played. He ranked 27th in passing attempts, 26th in passing yards, 16th in passing touchdowns, 10th in interceptions. But again, another guy that just makes things happen with his legs. 2nd in carries, 1st in rushing yards, and 2nd in rushing touchdowns. He's actually a little bit more accurate than people think. 4th in red zone accuracy, 16th in deep ball accuracy rating, and 17th in QBR. This is a team that brought in a brand new wide receiver 1 in Wiki DJ Moore, who I think is going to help out Justin Fields a ton. They still have Chase Claypool. They still have Darnell. Here comes the Mooney. And the offensive line shouldn't be a complete and utter flaming pile of dog shit this season. Again, the rushing upside is what takes Justin Fields over the top, but I want to continue to push this narrative that Fields is a much better passer than people think. Coming out of The Ohio State University, this motherfucker was slicing defenses up like his name was Jason. But people are scared of him because he's a running back in the NFL, right? Get over yourself, pal. Justin Fields is the best wide receiver core yet. Best offensive line yet. Big things for Mr. Justin Fields. Moving to the B tier, quarterback 6 through 8, we got the more quote-unquote boring quarterbacks. Now, I don't consider Joe Shiesty, Justin Herbert, or Trevor Lawrence to be boring, but in terms of fantasy football, they don't have as much rushing upside. They are going to throw for a shit ton of yards. They are in offenses with loaded wide receiver cores. Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase, Tee Higgins, as well as Tyler. Yeah, Boyd. His offensive line got better as the season went along. Again, he's a safe bet to be a top 8 quarterback, has top 5 upside. The rushing upside does kind of move him down for me, but again, I'm not scoffing at anyone who has Joe Burrow ranked maybe even as the quarterback 4, because again, the weapons are so elite. He's such an elite quarterback, and the offense could be so good that even without the limited rushing upside, he could finish as a top 3 quarterback. Basically, until we get outside of the B tier, all of these guys I am incredibly confident in. I'm still confident in quarterbacks going later, but these guys just feel like you're wrapping a condom around your team, right? Super safe pick when you draft one of these guys to be your quarterback. Last year, Burrow was the quarterback 4 and quarterback 4 in points per game, playing in 17 games, 5th in passing attempts, 5th in passing yards, 2nd in passing touchdowns, 7th in interceptions, 7th in carries, 12th in rushing yards, and 5th in rushing touchdowns. Joe Burrow is dealing with an injury, but every report I've seen recently is wheels up for Joe Burrow. He's going to be good to go for week number 1. Again, Joe Burrow, super safe pick. At number 7, Justin Herbert, the pervert of the LA Chargers, underdog ADP quarterback 7, pick 53.4. Now, last year was a down season for Justin Herbert, but that was pretty clearly because of the injury that he suffered against the Kansas City Chiefs to start off the season. He was clearly not the same Justin Herbert that we're used to, though still 2nd in pass attempts, 2nd in passing yards. His touchdowns did dip, just a 3.6% passing touchdown rate. Normally, that's going to be around 5% or higher with a quarterback with the skill set of Justin Herbert, 8th at quarterback, 14th in interceptions. Again, some slight rushing upside, 14th in carries, 17th in rushing yards. Again, another great quarterback, loaded offense, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Quentin Johnston, as well as Gerald Everett as the tight end. Again, when you draft these quarterbacks, you don't blow your load in your pants because you selected them, but you also feel like you got a safe quarterback, right? Lots of weapons, decent offensive line, solid team. You're going to be happy when you draft Justin Herbert. Is he going to be the reason why you win your league? Probably not, but he's not going to sink the battleship of your fantasy team. At number 8, we have Trevor Lawrence, T-Law, touchdown Jesus of the Jaguars, underdog ADP, quarterback 8, pick 64.9. Last year, quarterback 7 at the end of the season, and the quarterback 13 in points per game. Now, Trevor Lawrence was a guy that entering into last season, there was a whole lot of question marks. People were questioning how good this guy would be in his rookie year under Urban Meyer. It was a disaster, but that's because Urban Meyer is an idiot. Urban Meyer is not a competent NFL head coach. Once they pivot to Doug Peterson, things are great, right? This team adds Calvin Ridley. They already have Evan Ingram. They already have Christian Kirk. They already have Zay Jones. A great situation for Lawrence to be in. He could finish anywhere from quarterback 8 to quarterback 3, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. Moving now to the C tier, where things start to get a little bit more risky. Again, still solid upside at quarterback, but there are definitely more question marks. There's more risk, right? At quarterback 9, Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns, quarterback 9 off the board, pick 84.4 on Underdog Fantasy. Speaking of Underdog Fantasy, they are the sponsor of today's video. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy football, best ball this summer. If you don't know what best ball is, it's the best part about fantasy football. It's the draft, and that's it. There's no waivers, no trades, and no in-season management. At the end of every single week, Underdog automatically throws the highest scores into the lineup for you. Underdog has the biggest best ball contest, fantasy football contest ever. $25 to enter, Best Ball Mania 4, $15 million in total prizes, $3 million to first place. Now, if that seems like too big of an entry fee for you, you're new to Underdog, you want to do a smaller tournament? Well, they have the Puppy 3. $5 to enter, 150 max entries, $1 million in total prizes, $200,000 to first place. Very beginner friendly. If you want to hop in there, make sure you use promo code Notorious or click on the link in the video description for a first match deposit bonus of up to $100. So if you deposit $100, they give you an additional $100, $50, additional $50, $25, an additional $25. The minimum deposit is $10. So you deposit $10, they give you an additional $10. So make sure you guys check that out. Link in the video description. If you don't want to join tournaments, they have basically essentially like a normal fantasy league. You and 11 other people with as low of a buy-in as $3. A 12-team league, first 2 places make money. Make sure you guys check that out. Again, this Sunday, I will be live from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on to do a 10 to 12-hour draft-a-palooza on Underdog. At number 9, back to things, though, Deshaun Watson, right? We know this guy sucked to the maximum degree last season. He was just embarrassing to watch. It was like watching Stevie Wonder throw a football. Quarterback 25 in points per game. Every single thing went wrong, but he's looked better in training camp, looked decent in preseason. I think Deshaun Watson is in a solid situation. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, as well as David Njoku. I don't think Deshaun Watson may ever return to that former glory of being the MVP potentially of the NFL, a top 3 quarterback, but in fantasy, I don't think he needs to be a top 3 quarterback for him to pay off as the quarterback 9. He could just be a top 10 quarterback, have some solid top 5 games, and you're happy where you got him as the quarterback 9. Again, I think this whole Cleveland Browns offense is going to bounce back in a big way in 2023. At number 10, we have my guy Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins, underdog ADP quarterback 10 at pick 92.7. Now, the obvious risk with Tua is the injury, right? I'm not going to just throw that under the rug. It's clear if he gets hurt, that's very bad, and he might have to retire, right? But I'm not going to enter into the season being a complete and utter pussy where you get Tua. He's quarterback 10, pick 92.7. Where Tua is coming off the board, the injury risk is very clearly baked in there, right? If you draft Tua, maybe you want to draft another quarterback with him, right? I get that. But to me, the upside is far too high to fade him. He's got Tyreek, Waddle. They have the fastest offense in the NFL. They have Raheem Mostert. They have Devin 2 Chains. They have Chosen Anderson, Braxton Berrios. They have a lot of depth at the wide receiver position. I like Tua a lot this season. He was way better than people thought he would be last year. One of the better deep ball passers, top 12 in passer rating, number 3 in QBR last season. He has some rushing upside. I hope he doesn't run the ball, but we all know when the game is the game, right? When the bright lights start shining, Tua, despite the fact that he has the concussion issues, he's going to try to send some poor bastard into Middle Earth and hit stick him Ray Lewis style, right? Obviously, he shouldn't do that, but he's going to do it, and I'm going to shit myself as a Dolphins fan when he does. The upside is very clear with Tua Tagovailoa. The safety is certainly not the best, but when you get deeper and deeper into the draft, you don't need to draft as safe of players. I'm hunting for upside, and Tua has that big upside. At number 11, we have Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic, quarterback of the New York Football Giants, quarterback 15 on underdog, pick 116.3. Top 10 quarterback finish on the season, as well as in points per game. This is a quarterback that I want to be drafting a ton. The rushing upside for him is crazy. 4th in carries, 5th in rushing yards, 3rd in rushing touchdowns. Best wide receiver core yet for Danny Dimes. They draft Jalen Hyatt. They bring in Darren Waller. They still have Sterling Shepard. They have Wan'Dale Robinson, who they drafted last year. They have Isaiah Hodgins. Now, obviously, not the best receiver core in the NFL, but better than Daniel Jones has ever had. 8th in passer rating last year, 7th in QBR. This offense was way better under Brian Daboll. He also has Saquon to his side who can dump the ball off to, and Saquon could run the ball 100 yards to the crib at any point if you just dump the ball off to him. I like Brian Daboll a ton. I think he really molded Daniel Jones into a much better passer, and I'm ecstatic to see how this offense does this season, and I like Daniel Jones. I feel like he's a pretty safe option as a top 12 guy. At number 12, to close out the C tier, we have Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys, underdog ADP, quarterback 12 at pick 106.1. Last year, kind of a down year for Dak, quarterback 19 due to some injuries, quarterback 16 in points per game. They bring in Brandon Cooks in the offseason, obviously not the best receiver in the NFL, but definitely a solid number 2 piece. They lose Dalton Schultz, but I don't think that's really all that big of a deal. They have some other tight ends that they can work in there. They got CeeDee Lamb, they got Michael Gallup, and they also have Tony Pollard, who I think is going to be very involved in the receiving game of this offense. Dak, again, another one of these guys where it just feels like you're wrapping a condom around your team, right? Dak struggled in interceptions last year through the most, but I don't really think that's going to repeat. He could probably throw 30 passing touchdowns. He has CeeDee Lamb on the team. He has some slight rushing upside again. One down year out of Dak isn't going to make me just panic completely. I think the offense is better. I think losing Kellen Moore might actually help out Dak Prescott a little bit, so I'm in on Dak this year yet again. Again, I don't feel overwhelmingly confident to where I want to rank him higher than the C tier, but it doesn't feel bad to click on Dak Prescott and he's your quarterback, right? In a 12-team league, obviously it would feel kind of gross to have him if you're in like an 8-team league as your quarterback one. Moving to the D tier, we got Anthony Richardson by himself. He was named the starting quarterback today, underdog ADP, quarterback 11, pick 104.5. Now, when I draft Richardson, every single time I have to draft a second quarterback. I just have to, because I don't know if I want to start Anthony Richardson week 1. He obviously has the crazy rushing upside. He ranked first all time out of all quarterbacks charted in athleticism by Player Profiler. He has legitimate top 3 ceiling at quarterback because of the rushing upside. He has solid weapons in Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, as well as Michael Pittman Jr., but there are clear question marks when it comes to him being an actual passer. How accurate will he be down the field? This, that, and the other thing. He has a cannon. He can throw deep, but how accurate will it be? How will his game transition into the NFL? Now, his head coach is Shane Steichen, however the fuck you want to say his name. He was one of the reasons why Hurts looked so good last year in Philly. He's the starter number 1, all right? Week 1, he's the QB1. It's a feel-out process for me. The upside is immense, but there is clearly risk, right? Chasing the rookie quarterback is always risky. There's been quarterbacks in the rookie year that have just pounded defenses out, right? Kyler Murray. There's been quarterbacks in year 1 who have been fantastic. There's also been quarterbacks that have not played great in year 1, Trevor Lawrence, and then end up putting up great seasons afterwards. So Anthony Richardson, again, not the safest pick, but insane upside. The reason why he's not in the C tier is, again, because if you draft Richardson, you're basically pigeonholing yourself into drafting a backup quarterback. Moving now to the E tier, quarterbacks 14 through 17. This is the Kirk Cousins tier, because I know Aaron Rodgers is better than Kirk Cousins, but their defense is so good that I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball a crazy amount, and they just brought in Dalvin Cook, right? So this is just the range of quarterbacks that I think are pretty good, that are going to have multiple games top 12, but are probably not going to finish top 5, in my opinion. So Kirk Cousins, quarterback 8 last year, quarterback 14 in points per game. He's got Jordan Addison Ray, TJ Hawkinson, and the best receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. There's a lot of reasons to like Kirk Cousins. Sure, he's going to have those crazy disaster-filled games, right? That's why they call him the new nightmare. Super good in the early slate. After that, he ends up shitting the bed big time. You feel just fine drafting Kirk Cousins. Again, he's going to have some down games. He's going to have some solid games. He's going to finish anywhere on the season from quarterback 12 to quarterback 15, 16. So you're never going to feel bad drafting Kirk, but you're never going to feel like you won your league when you selected him. Like, Anthony Richardson has legit league-winning upside, which is why I have him ranked in a tier of his own ahead of him. Geno Smith, another Kirk Cousins type guy, underdog ADP quarterback 14 pick 114.7. I don't think Geno Smith is very good, but he's got a great offense. He's got a loaded core of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett in my pocket, skirt, JSN, right? Loaded to the gills wide receiver core. But he's not great. But he has some solid rushing upside as well. 8th in carries, 8th in rushing yards, 20th in rushing touchdowns. So there's a way where Geno could, I guess, finish top 5. He did last year, quarterback 11 in points per game. I think the points per game metric is a lot more important because he played all 17 games, which heavily elevates him and pushes him into the top 5 at the end of the season. Again, you draft Geno, you feel fine about it, right? You're not writing home about it. Does he have league winner upside? Yeah, I guess he does because of how great the offense is and his slight rushing upside. But when you have Geno in your lineup, it's kind of like Kirk Cousins, the same thing, right? You have him in your lineup, you're not necessarily panicking, but you understand that things could go very wrong. You understand that the Kirk game could come out, right? Not the Kirk Go Chains game where he puts the team on his back, has a huge performance. You know that shit performance could come. Same thing with Geno Smith, right? Because after all, he's still Geno Smith. I know, he had such a great year last year, Nick, but he's still Geno Smith, right? At number 16, we got Jared Goff. Again, we're going to continue to compare these guys to Kirk Cousins. Great offense, great weapons, solid head coach. They're going to throw the ball. Goff should be fine. Quarterback 17 off the board on underdog, pick 129.1. These are all guys that I would be elated to have as my QB2 in a Superflex league, that I would feel okay about, fine about as my quarterback 1 in a regular redraft 12-team league, 1 quarterback, right? Quarterback 10 last year, 15 in points per game. He's good. He's better than people give him credit for. 9th in passer rating, 5th in QBR. Certainly has top 10 upside, but is he really going to finish as like a top 5 quarterback? Probably not, and that's why he's ranked back here. He's a serviceable starter. If you missed on the quarterbacks early and you land Goff on your team, you're not going to be pissed at yourself. But you're also, again, all these guys, you're just not super excited that they're your quarterback 1, but you're also not super mad. Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check, down year last year in Green Bay, quarterback 16 off the board on underdog, pick 122. Quarterback 13 last year, quarterback 26 though in points per game. Again, a down season for Rodgers. He's just coming off of back-to-back MVP seasons. He's going to be fine in New York. They have decent weapons. They have Garrett Wilson. They have Allen Lazard. They have the corpse of Randall Cobb. They bring in Dalvin Cook. They have Breece Hall. I think this team's going to look to run the ball a bunch, right? They got a great defense, so that would make a lot of sense. They have a pretty tough schedule to start the season, so I think Rodgers will be a quarterback you can pick up off the waiver wire a couple weeks into the season, which is going to be sick, right? You get Rodgers off the waiver wire. Again, the fact that I think they're going to run so much does kind of devalue Rodgers. They're not going to have to throw a shit ton deep in the game because the defense is going to lock them up behind bars. I'm locked up, don't let me out. I think that's the words to that song. If you know, you know. I like Rodgers. Again, I think he's going to still be a pretty solid quarterback in the NFL. Could be the MVP, maybe. But again, just a safe option. You don't really feel... Again, I don't want to sound like beating a dead horse here, sound like a fucking broken record, but I don't feel excited to draft Rodgers. I just feel like I got a quarterback that any given week could finish top 10, finish top 8. Probably not going to finish as the QB1, but, you know, you got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback 16, right? So what a steal that is, right? Moving now to the F tier. This is where the wee-woo, the fucking DEFCON 5 alarm starts to set off in a 1-quarterback league. In a 2-quarterback league, it's okay. Now, I love Brock Purdy. He's my quarterback 19, but I get that the leash might not be super long, right? If Brock Purdy starts fucking things up, he might end up on the bench, and Mono Man Sam could end up in the game, or Trey Lance. So, again, while I like Brock Purdy, and I think he's a really good quarterback, surprisingly went literally as the Mr. Irrelevant in last year's draft, there are so many factors that could get him tugged out of the game. Shout out to Sean Watson getting tugged out. There's a chance that he doesn't play the whole year as the starter, and that worries me, even with the upside. He was the quarterback 11 in points per game when playing 60+% of the snaps, which is 6 game sample size. We'll get back to him, though. Number 18, Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited of the Denver Broncos, underdog ADP quarterback 18, pick 134.7. He was not good last year. None of the stats are great. 12th in pass attempts, 13th in passing yards, 19th in passing touchdowns, 10th in interceptions, some rushing upside, 12th in carries, 11th in rushing yards, 9th in rushing touchdowns. QBR, the efficiency stats are awful. 26th in true passer rating, 27th in QBR. The hope with Russell Wilson is that Sean Payton is going to do some voodoo and resurrect Russell Wilson's career, and that the Russell Wilson we saw last year was just because Nathaniel Hackett is a dumb fucking bastard, right? Maybe that is why Russell Wilson stunk so bad. Now, he didn't look great in preseason, kind of played good in the second quarter, but when you're the coach, when you're Sean Payton, do you really want Russell Wilson in the offense playing into the second quarter, right? You want to get off hot, start off hot, score that tug, get out of there. But that's not what happened, right? They couldn't score early on. Russell Wilson is going to probably bounce back. But I have to tell you that when I draft Russell Wilson, there is just something that goes on, like your body has like a flight or fight mode, like, right? And I'm starting to feel like really nervous when I draft him. My palms start sweating like Eminem in that song, right? I start getting really nervous. I get the upsides there. I think he's going to bounce back, but what I saw last season is just ingrained in my mind, right? Remember that game against Indianapolis where neither of the teams could score? Now, Russ has won Super Bowls, so he could still have it in his back pocket. The receiver core there is really good. Sutton, Judy, Marvin Mims. They have great options. Dolchich, who seems like he might even be the fucking tight end one on the team. Again, there's worse options than Russ. Clearly. There's a lot of other quarterbacks ranked below him. But when I draft him, I don't feel very confident. Number 19, Big Cock Brock Purdy. This guy's I think he's really good. Again, if you look at from actual starter action through his divisional playoff win with the Cowboys, I didn't include the Eagles game because he got hurt. 1,800 passing yards, 231.8 per game, 16 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 66.8% completion percentage, 8.4 yards per attempt. He's got Debo. He's got Ayuk. He's got Kittle. He's got Christian McCaffrey. So he's going to be fine. But the fact that I feel like there is the lingering getting pulled issue scares me away from ranking him even higher, even though, like, if I'm waiting and I'm waiting in a 14-team league and Purdy's my number one quarterback, I wouldn't feel that gross about it. I feel more gross about having Russell Wilson, if I'm being honest with you, but there is clearly a leash that is on Brock Purdy. Even if people don't want to say it, even though, yeah, no one wants to talk about it. I don't want him to get pulled. I don't think he even will get pulled. But with Lance kind of sniffing up his ass, with Sam Darnold there, I don't know. I don't know, man. And the 49ers quarterbacks just always seem to get hurt. Again, maybe that's just some Fugazi thinking, right? Some crazy thoughts, but that does kind of worry me. At quarterback 20, Derek Carr. This dude looks yoked. He's huge. If you've seen his arms in that picture that was going all around Twitter, the guy is fucking jacked out of his mind. He's on that Joe Rogan TRT type shit, right? Quarterback 19 on underdog, pick 148.5. Carr is just maybe a good season away from being Kirk Cousins, right? Being in that Kirk Cousins range. Question for me with Carr, is he the quarterback that we saw last season that got benched for Jarrett Stidham? Or is Josh McDaniel just an idiot and the Saints are a better situation for him? Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill. Now, they have a lot of things that kind of scare me. For instance, when they get in the red zone, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Taysom Hill is playing quarterback at a lot of points in the game, because Taysom Hill just has some type of blackmail on the whole Saints organization, because there's no reason why he should be playing. They also have Kamara, sure, suspended for a couple of games, but we know in the red zone, Kamara's going to get the ball. They have Jamal Williams, another red zone guy. Got to give him the ball. There's a lot of reasons to believe that Derek Carr in the red zone isn't going to be slicing the defense up like the Thanksgiving turkey. The weapons are solid. Carr's a good quarterback. But again, I'm not trying to shit on any of these guys, because when you are an NFL quarterback, right, even the garbage ones like Zach fucking Wilson, you are so much better at quarterback than everyone else in the world because you made it to the NFL, right? Even guys that I like to shit on, like Johnny Football, easy to make fun of him. That guy wasn't watching tape, wasn't doing anything, didn't give a damn Win or lose, we booze. And he was still an okay NFL quarterback. That's crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. So while I shit on these guys, they're still these upper echelon athletes. I want you to understand that. But in reality, like, look, in a one quarterback league, are you excited that you have Derek Carr out there? No. If your quarterback got hurt, maybe you're excited that you can play Derek Carr and not stuck with fucking some, like, I don't even know. Who would be really bad to play a quarterback? Like, you don't have to start CJ Stroud week 1 in his rookie year. Or you don't have to play injured Kyler Murray or something. But do you really want to play Derek Carr? No. In a 2-quarterback league, I get it. But in a 1-quarterback league, no. Closing out, we got the G tier, then the H tier. I'm going to keep things short and simple with Matthew Stafford, underdog ADP quarterback 22, pick 162.2. I don't know how healthy he is. All the reports are that he's going to be fine. So maybe he just really outperforms my ranking of quarterback 21. Can you do something for me? Didn't look great last year, though, when he was healthy. Now, he has Cooper Kupp, who could, like, basically put him on his back. But the Rams are kind of on a downward spiral. Stafford didn't look great. Now, he's just coming off a 2021 season where he looked really good. The back stuff scares me. So he's in a tier of his own because I'd rather have him than the guys below him. But that injury concern really scares me. I don't have Kyler Murray ranked. I don't know how many games he's going to play. I don't think he's going to get shut down for the whole season like I initially thought. But why would you draft a guy that's not going to play for the first, like, 6-7 games? And then when he comes back, are you really going to want to start him for those first couple games where he's getting his legs out underneath him? His little legs. Little Kyler. Again, I like Kyler, the quarterback. I think he's fun. The rushing upside's insane. But he's coming off that injury. Maybe he won't run as much. Again, there's just so many negatives. And especially if you're in a league where there's no IR spot, like, there's just no need to draft Kyler when he might miss 6-7 weeks. Kenny Pickett, small hands, just like Kyler's a small guy. Underdog ADP quarterback 24, pick 169.8. Looked bad last year, admittedly. I think he's going to look better. He looked good in that preseason action. Again, don't overreact to preseason, but he looked good there. He's got Deontay Johnson. He's got Pat Freiermuth. He's got George Pickens, so a decent receiver core. The offensive line was dog shit last year. They literally spread like Moses spread the Red Sea. Or like that girl spreads her legs that you know on the internet. But Pickett should be fine. But again, he's a 2-quarterback, super flex league guy that you play in a pinch. He's not a guy you want in your lineup in a 1-quarterback league. Quarterback 23, I have this guy ranked higher than underdog. Ryan Tannehill of the Titans. Quarterback 28, pick 203.2. Now, I know the Titans offense runs on running the ball. They're a run-heavy offense. But even with Derrick Henry there, they bring in D-Hop. They have Chig. They have Treylon Burks. Tannehill was shit last season. He really was. Dealing with injuries. I think if he plays the whole season, I don't really know why they would pull him for like Malik Willis or for Mayo Man, the other quarterback that they just drafted. I just don't know why they would do that. Like, it just, like, unless they're just trying to tank or something, but you don't bring in D-Hop to tank. So I don't think Will Levis is going to play unless there's an injury, or Willis. I think it's Tannehill time. With the receiver core there, Tannehill just a couple years ago in Tennessee was looking really solid. Like a really underrated quarterback. He has some sneaky rushing upside as well. Again, not a guy I'm targeting, but I got him ranked higher because I think people are just forgetting how good Tannehill was in the past. Now, I don't think he's over the pasture, right? I don't think he's just going to die out there this season. Like, I don't think he's finished, right? I think he's still got a couple years left in him. Maybe he won't be a starter in the NFL for the next couple of years, but I think he at least has one more year as a starter of the Titans. Quarterback 24, Jordan, do you love me? Love me, love me. Quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Quarterback 21 off the board on underdog, pick 160. He didn't start. He's only started one game in his career. He stepped in against the Eagles last year when Rodgers went down. 6 completion on 9 attempts, 6 of 9. Very nice. I like 69. Very funny. For 113 yards and a touchdown, which was thrown to, I believe, Christian Watson. Jordan Love from training camp looks good. Now, you never really see too many negative reports, but I've seen negative reports about Brock Purdy in training camp. Jordan Love, he's got a decent receiver core. I think Christian Watson could carry him, but they are a team that I think is going to run the ball a lot because their defense is good with Aaron Jones and with A.J. Dillon. So I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Jordan Love will still be fine. I think he's going to be better than people think, but again, not the guy you want in a 1-quarterback league. Again, anytime, basically anyone past the Aaron Rodgers tier, these are just 2-quarterback guys, right? I'm not drafting, like, if I'm in a 1-quarterback league and people start taking backups, and my backup might be Jordan Love, Kenny Pickett, or Ryan Tannehill, I'm probably just not taking backup in a one quarterback league. Like, I'll just wait on the waiver wire and pick someone up if an injury happens to my quarterback or if they're on bye. So thank you guys for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying the quarterback rankings, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down below. It helps me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. Make sure you use promo code. That was the Dalvin Cook graphic from yesterday's video. So crazy that Dalvin Cook is on the fucking Jets. But make sure you check out Underdog Fantasy, promo code Notorious, link in the video description. Again, going to be live this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a long time, 10 to 12 hours, bunch of guests, draft-a-thon, draft-a-palooza, question and answer, answering a bunch of questions. Love you guys. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Notorious. Have a great one, and as always, good.